Basali.
Yeah.
Can you say the date?
On Gimel or
Oh,
down?
it's Shvat.
Nice, yeah.
Down. Okay, it's all ready for you.
Thanks a lot.
No problem.
Thanks.
I heard that when Moshe Lando, the Rebbe personally asked that he should bring Ayin Beis to Baba Sali when Ayin Beis was printed.
What is that?
Yeah, I heard it on Shabbos stuff.
What? Oh.
Yeah. And Baba Sali used to go, sometimes used to go to France, and used to go to Brunois. And there the whole week, all the time he was there, he was just sitting in front of the Torah all the whole time.
No, that's more than
No, the professor he was a gewaldige makusha to the Rebbe. That's something you can't understand. See?
This is a 6. This
Yeah,
is
6 at the end,
We
yeah.
were together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Great. Oh, would you just dial 44 and then you dial that number straight? He was a very big makusha to the Rebbe. It's not about something. He had verstanden ook, was tot waarom, as I say. Winter, Morris, sorry, yeah. It's, is that yours?
Yeah, you could.
Do you mind if I put this on top of it?
Sure, no problem.
So it's running.
Yeah, that's running, yeah. So you have to forgive me tonight, I'm not in such good shape, but we'll try to hammer something. We'll try and hammer something together. So tonight is early the Dalet Shvat. What we've been reminded that that's the Hilula of the Baba Sali, and doubtless a great Eis Rotzen Bein Lamayla Bein Lamata. Shir in Hamshech Tofei Shayin Beis, Chelik Aleph, Amud Tov Ayin Hei, Sof Dibur Amaschil, Vaidav Elikim Es Kol Advarim Ha'elu, Tov Reish Ayin Dalet. So we came to the conclusion in the previous os that the Merumam BMS was, but he wasn't B'chinas Matthias Klau, and therefore his Rimam is the Gabi Kol Eile, Shebetele Melo was in an even that ein behem Kol Geder Shal Matthias Klau, and not that his Rimam comes from a attempt on his part to create an atmosphere on their part, but it comes from the fact that he's Eino, B'chinas Matthias Yeshes Klau, or he's Lagamre Begeda, like we saw, he's the Eino B'chinas Matthias Nimto Klau, and that's the remnants of the Atzmas. Dafki, because of that, there can be the Yeshu Amiti, the Takef Amitius of his Matthias, is Meir in his Malucha, and that's the Inin of Takef Malucha. Now it is in Elakus, the Takef of the king, it's at Mitius Bitule B'Matthias. I apologize slightly for the lack of Seder. I don't quite know why it's like that, but we'll just have to be satisfied with the kasha after Matthias.
Daphne, do you ask the Bochrim to forgive you that there's no Seder in Yeshiva? Do you ever ask the Bochrim to forgive you that there's no Seder?
To forgive me?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Well, I don't know. No, I don't.
Oh, no, so?
You guys are, Erchim Chashuvim, you're not Bochrim anymore. Anyway, and therefore we saw that the Makablim Mimenu Bechinas Beetle B'Matzias, and we were medactic B'Sofa that they're also Margish how they believe Matzias Klau, and they are misbattling Be'etzem Matziusam Lifnei Hareimamis. In other words, that the beetle Ki'ilu works in two directions. The Teikiv of the Metzias of the Merumam comes from Bituloi or Emes, that he's Beklau not by Mechinas Metzias, and that is nearer in the Makablim, or that is Mashpir, Nishkaf, as you might say, in the Makablim, that they're Mechinas Bilti Metzias Klau, and the Mizatlim Lefonov Bebitel, just in even van een reich Klau, and that's the emes in his Malucha, I feel in these pastures, like we're medactic, is near the emes Eikshaheim Betalium be emes Mitzad Reima Musai or Amitias. And then we went on to say that's Locheres in Reish Lamed Hey, that's Locheres Seisa, Mashanachnu Reim Shamarumam Akavana Mumam be emes Davke. I'm sorry, when we begin his Reim is Amiti, Ina Mavatal Shumdover. He's not Mavatal anything, but Adarabba Neis and Mochim Ve'erat L'chol Dover. He finds a place, as it were, for everything and allows it to have its Matthias, and it doesn't Mavalbel him or in any way Mitzad Heder Ha'erach, Mitzad Chesed Tfisus Mochim. Mitzad the fact that he's Mudal, B'havdolas Ha'erach, look, it's not Mavalbel him Klau, and therefore he can allow everything to have a place. So that's what we say, that they feel the emes of Beetle, how their mamish beginners Heder Ha'erach and Botil B'Metzias. Well, that's the fact that we say he gives them, on the contrary, he allows everything to have its place, and its Metzias. But be'emes ein l'chodover she'ein loy mokem. Ve'eich noima she'ein b'Metzias Klau. We say that the Makablim from the Reimamas Amitias are not b'chinas Metzias, v'chein hu nira b'hareimamas b'chinas bli Metzias. The Reimamas sees in the Makablim how their mamish b'li Metzias, l'chera, he sees them as a valuable part of what you might call his kavanah and his plan, and on the contrary, gives everything a place. The Lafia now, l'chera ula eipach, the kol dover shenimtzo v'nitzave, Yesh lei mokem. V'hareimim is davke nation mokem l'chol dover. And here we were just mechadish that nothing has any place whatsoever, and it's all beginners, and they feel it also, and they themselves know that they are completely botel m'tzias l'loiko erech klau. How do the two things come together? And we saw the teretz was Ayin hu dazeh sheyesh lei mokem v'neisen lei mokem. Ein ze shadover mitzad atzmei, yesh loy mokim ve'erech, ki im ma shenois nim loy erech. We saw this is a gewaldige new svara, a factor that comes into the whole hemshech, the pure in these maimonim, that be'emes the Nivroim have no erech or tfisa klau, the gabi di atzmos. We're going to see the Lashon gets even stronger as it goes along. And the final maskon is that they have no Matthias, even. They're not even begeder HaMatthias Klau. It's only that the Atzmus is nois and mokim. He literally, he decides that he wants them to have a place. And therefore, he gives them a place, and that's not maval, the fact that they have no place like him, because it's his rotzen and his decision, as it were, to give them a mokim. The whole thing is only mitzad him, or not mitzad them. They mitzad themselves are completely bottled by Matthias, to the point that there ain't a Matthias Klau. What they do have a Matthias is what he allows them, he gives them that Matthias. the imiyosha ein lo shum erg with tfisa klau lagabi haraimames. Yeah, ein loy is referring to the Maccabeel. Upi hemes harihu botel b'metzias lagamri lagabi haraimames canal. Of the word gamri is going to be important. He's bottled b'metzias completely. Mikol mochim teva haraimames amiti. Here we run up against this word teva haraimames again. Teva haraimames amiti kasher bo b'chinas ispashtes. These galas, shenoisen mochim lechol dover. Now that's going to be connected with, and later we're going to be miyashiv more the whole shlemus of that spot. We've already met up with teva hamarimam liyais nimshach el hashofel that we've already had. It's common in Siddur, that whole concept, and we had that earlier in the previous Maimah. But the teva of the marumam is dafkid, the marumam amiti. We're talking about not a gematta marumam, of a emesa marumam, is to be nimshach el hashofel. We even in other places we call that rachamim. We say that that's a sug miyuchad in rachamim. Here we're not so stressing the tzad rachamim b'zeh, but we're stressing the etzem teva, the merumam and the muvdal ha'amiti to be nimshach to the shofel. So he says that that's even in the ispashtes haraimames. Because mochim teva haraimames ha'amiti kasher bo b'chinas ispashtes v'his galas shenoisen mochim lechol dover. Now, why do we have to say that we're talking only in the ispashtas and iskalas of the reimamas, not in the reimamas amiti mamish, ekshahu? V'gam l'dover koton b'yoser noisen loy erech u'mochim k'moy l'dover godel. So, in other words, that everything he can give it an error, no matter what may be its cutness in the realm of the Matthias themselves. And by him it doesn't matter. It can have a godel or cotton, lefi nasinas makoi meihu, not necessarily in the laws or the normal way of looking mitzad the makablim. V'zeo mipnei she's pashtas areimamas u'mechinas reimamas o atzmas v'loi b'chinas metzias v'yeshes canal. That the ispashtas of the reimamas amiti is not a metzias or a yeshes, it's only a gili of the reimamas amiti of the atzmas, and the reimamas amiti is only ain't a b'chinas metzias, like we learn. Whatever it's not beget a metzias klau, neither is the ispashtas. Al kain u'neisen mochim lechol dover. Agam shemitzad atzmei ein lo shum mochim ve'erech klal. Well, that thing could be as no mochim ve'erech whatsoever. But these pashtas of the reimamas, being as it is, a pashtas of the reimamas amiti as mamish, then it gives mochim ve'erech to afilu inyonim wa ein lem kol erech or geder shel matiyah. V'davke, and that's precisely bibchinas pashtas areimas. Kashehu b'reimamas atzmi be'etzem. If we take the reimamas atzmi as ekshehu mitzad etzem atzmusei, eino begeder nasinas mochim l'shum dover ki muvdo be'erech legam. It's not shy to say that the Amiti's Reimamas Atzmas would give mochim to anything, because it's just completely and utterly moved out. It's not even shy that it should give a place to anything. But in the Ispashtas, being as it is, as we saw earlier in the beginning of the Maimah, we saw, and in the Ispashtas of the Reimamas, there can even be a certain Indian of what we call Reimamas Hamaylo. In other words, there's already a certain Indian of Yachas to something. It's Nimshach Almanas Liyes Meruma Al Am ultimately. There can be an Insinus Mokim to the Nivra, but not in a way that the Nivra really has any Matthias Klau or error, but the Atzmus itself gives him, even from the Sina Gemura, gives him, or that place, that error. And therefore, that's stuck in the Spashtas, not in the Et.
Don't we say that Ayin is a chelek elokam imal mamish?
Right.
It's a portion of the Atzmus, when you take a little bit of the...
Right. It's a matter of, he's got a chelek mimal mamish, so then he should be, how do you call it? Shaykh to the Atzmus. Not only Shaykh, he should be like how do you call it, a chip off the old block, to use the expression.
Yeah.
Right, so here we have to say that the Iker, also either B'Pashas Advarim, or the Iker of the Nivra, and when we talk about Nivroim, when we talk about the Inin from Malchus, and we talk about the group, and we talk about the Inin which becomes a Matziyah. The Neshama, not really shy to say that she becomes a Matziyah. Maybe in the Gilui HaNeshama, the Chelik Naran, maybe shy to say that becomes a Ezeshu even Shabbatziyah. Aber the Ike Kabbalah Samalches is wie the Neshama is mamish melubish in the Guf, and we kilo the Guf is the Rike. We see that on Rosh Hashanah, there's the famous Ghost Maimonides, but he says the whole din of Rosh Hashanah is also the Guf. Well known, the Rebbe brings a lot of the Maimorim. The whole Ike on Rosh Hashanah is only mitzad the Guf and mitzad the Gashmir. Because mitzad the Neshama, and befat that Chelek Elekad, I mean, they never really become separate entities. They're mamish miyuchad betachlis b'shershom kolazman. The whole inyan is, how are they going to be poil on the inyan of the choyma and the what you might call the yeshes of the nivra. And the fact we see that the whole inyan from Malch is mitzad echod, or that's a inyan from yesh, like we said, but it's not really yeshes, it's a teikah of the ois of the Matthias Amitis of Al-Chaponim. It's a form of teikah of Matthias, and whereas Malchus Shayach, Davke on the yesh, Davke on the Dvorim Anifrodim, the meaning of an Ein Melech Beloi Oimemes Nifrodim, Avu the ganze Shayachs to Malucha Davke Nishamas Alamata in Gufim. Aber die Ine von Kabbalah's Malchus Mamis is not Shaykh anywhere, only in the aspect of the Neshama HaNechas B'Techatu. I'll say Medabrim myself. I'll say Kol HaInyan from Nivroim and Nifrodim, all those Inyanim, the Inyan from Ayin Aroyach, and all those mitzad the aspect of the Odom, how he's a Nivra. Or mitzad Atzimus and Neshama, he's not a Nivra. The charge of Ayin from Nivra. And if talking in the Geda of the Odom, how he's a Nivra. And that's a whole gewaldige Chiddush. That the Yidden are able to be poil, Berotzino. That there's a Ayin from Kiel, what the Guf is Mekabel, Berotzen, the Ayin from Oil Machul Shemayim. Those are the ganze Ayin from Rosh Hashanah. That's the whole Nakuda. And on Yom Kippur is another Ayin. Yom Kippur, we go up into the Ayin from Daimel or Malachim, the Arikot Ayin from the Kittel is Daimel, to the Ayin from Chaysten. All the Inyanim was saying Kanamach and Laharich. V'chuli, this is Ayin from Aliyah, Kilu is Talchis, Lamaila, where the Guf just gives up its own Shlita, it doesn't eat, doesn't have anything to do with itself, and it goes up into a Geda from, kilos as a Dover Ruchni. Only Yom Kippur as a kilo and a Tachlis Aliyah. But then the ultimate is to bring everything down back into the Simchas Torah, Dafki the Guf. You understand? Dafki the Guf. But the Neshama also, with her new koyches, to be poil in the Guf. So the Tishrei, everybody gets new koyches. The Guf gets naya koyches, the Naran get naya koyches, and the Yetzim and Neshama also gets new, what you might call stimuli, all depending on which particular yontiv or which particular Ayin it happens to be. Doesn't include it. So we're talking here about the Ayin of the Kabbalah Samalchus. So therefore he says that the Ayin is Davke bis Pashtas, or in the Etzem Areimames, it's not shy because Etzem Areimames it's not possible even to give any sinus mochem because it's just completely modal legamre. V'im yesh noisen lemachem avim berach legamre. Avo kashu bis Pashtas Areimames ariu noisen mochem lekol dover. V'im yesh noisen lehem mochem ve'erach. Ein lohem shum mokim ve'erach mitzad atzmom klal. Now we see we keep warning two inyonim. We're having our cake and we're eating it too, or we're not eating it. I don't know. It was sort of holding the strict, but we're not holding it. They're saying that the Eibishter gives them mokim, but really that's also not. It's not really happening, but it is. In other words, Hashem gives them mokim, but that doesn't mean they do get mokim from him. It's all from his point of view. He gives them mokim, but not that makes them into a Matthias. They remain completely without Matthias. The Eibishter looks at them and sees them as a Matthias, and he gives them the whole Ayin from the mokim. Now that's going to be what we have to be choike as we go along. Does it have a toikif or does it not have any toikif? Is it just kilo like a show and it's not really anything, or does it really have what you might call a toikif, a miti mitadatzme? Well, Choponim says the Rebbe, you must not learn from that the Matthias the Nivra becomes Imkain Eishu Matthias. He said, in its own pintel line, in its own self, it remains completely below Matthias. Now, what then the Eibishter is nice and low, Mokim Ve'erach. He said, the Zesh nice and low, Mokim, Ein Zesh Ador Teisef, Mokim Etzloi. Not Cholila, that's what he teifes up some Mokim. Der Bemes, Ein Ador mit Teifes, Mokim Klau. So we have to say that the Ika word here is teifes. Yeah? The Indian has no tefisa. It doesn't, as it were, have any hold on Hashem whatsoever. It doesn't hold any place. Yeah? He gives it erech, it's only what he gives it of, not that it really has any tefisa legabe him. V'lochin, agam shenoisen lei mokim. In other words, it doesn't have any hold on anything. It's absolutely nothing, but he allows it to be, as it were, something. The Cain who he said, "B'yediyas areimamas, the mitzadatzmei ein lahem." Oh, and he said that's how it is in the yediyas areim. In other words, the way the Rumus looks at the matter, and the way the Rumus knows the matter, the way he sees it, is to mitzadatzme en lehem shum mokim klau. Rak shehu noisim lehem mokim ve. He gives them a place. It's becoming very mystifying as we go along. What is the nature of this? What is the nature of this error that they get from him having given it to them? If he sees it as really not the case, he sees when he is Yodea Oisov, then they're completely mitzad atzmam, and they mitzad atzmam also. They don't really receive any error. They remain how they are in their own self, completely and utterly bottled b'matzias. It's a minute that he gives them a place. Was it the how they call it was it the panosa from their minion, what does that really give them? And what does it really mean? So we have to just sort of hold our breath a little while and see if we can't work that out as we go along. He said, now we come to the Efresh Amiti between the Marumim that he's like we saw earlier, a Gemachte Marumim, he sort of makes himself Marumim, to somebody who is Marumim B'emes. Yeah, that's the first one. Marumim v'she'ena marumim. The mi she'ena marumim, hari hu noisem mochim be'erech l'dovo, she'esh lo mochim. What does he do? He gives a mochim ve'erech to something which has a mochim mitzad atzmei. Yeah, it has a place mitzad atzmei by him. Hainu l'dovo she'teisuf mochim et loi. He gives it a place, because why? Why does he want to give it a place? Because it's teifus mokim. It anyway has a place by him, because he's Romus is not a Metius, and it's presenting itself to him as a competitional Matthias to his Matthias. It has a place. And what does he do? He's worried about it, and he's concerned, and that concern, and that Hisaskus gives it even more chashivas than it would have had. It becomes even more. Right from the beginning, it's kiruva. One to the, I don't know, we bought them the Moshe Naaman. Did he have to run around being mevatel everybody, because everybody was really a Matthias, and he saw in them a threat to his own bilad, his own monopoly on the inner Matthias. Ve'im kain, possession oisem mochim ladovo, and then what he makes, he gives place to that particular thing. The fact that he gives it makom, well, that adds to the makom that it already has, because mitzad atzmei, by definition, it already has a makom, and that what he gives it makom, he's only, as it were, to a certain extent, adding to his own complication. He's just giving it even more than it would have had, or that it does have, mitzad atzmei. Dainu, it becomes even more of a threat to his Matthias, and what you might call a stumbling block in his way. It gets in his way. But really, he's contributing to that. He causes it to get in his way even more than it would have. In other words, it may be, had he just left it as a Matthias and ignored it, then it may have hurt a little bit of bittul gabi him. Or the fact that he keeps trying to beat it, that gives it more and more Matthias than it really had gabi him. And if his concern with its Matthias is adding more to his Matthias. He gives a mochim to a dover, what in its own right, it really has no mochim whatsoever. Like we saw before, it has no grasp of any place, like it's just absolutely not there, as far as he's concerned. Ein ze teufes mokim klau. It's kilu mamish einoi. Okay, im hanasines mokim ein mikol mokim ladova mokim mitzad atzmi. Mikol mokim meaning after everything. Yeah, after everything, even though he gives it place, that doesn't mean that in any way it gains episode. It gains episode place. Ein mikol mokim ladova mokim mitzad atzmi. Liois shezeu b'chinas havdolas ha'erech ve'enu nitfas be. It's in the even Abdollas Ayerech and Eino Nitfas. So the shah is who's Nitfas? Eino Nitfas Bezeh. So we have to say that in pastas it means the dover. The fact that he gives it that place and allows it to in his grace, what you might call his grace. I'll give grace to whoever I choose to give. To give grace, that's mitzad, but that doesn't cause the thing to have any tfisa. Maybe just a possibility we can tie it. Nitfas, he's also not nitfas. The mashpia also is not nitfas in the fact that he gives it a plate. That's just purely mitzad chanoise asher ochoin. It's meant to right aside of there to give a certain grace to Indians there. Richamti asher. Arachim, the Inu from the Remus, it fits in very nicely there. It doesn't have any tvisa It doesn't change in its absolute hevdol, even though he gives it an error. He does give it an error, but it doesn't alter anything. Not in its own self, and not in any relationship legabi him. And remember, the Lashem la'ena teifes mokim b'chulu, they're referring legabi him, and ein l'zeh erem mitzadatz me'vein, that's kilu in the etzem inyan of the thing itself. It has no real being. It doesn't really have any tears in its own right, in its own self. Kilu neimah, mitzadamitius, yediyas atzmit has no matzir. As you might say, the only reason that it's there, and the only reason it does have a kilo, nice and chashivas, like all dollar, is because he wants and he gives it that place. And maybe we could say that that's why it's there, B'klau. Because he's soon going to start using even stronger Lashem. Really, it's not. It has no mitzvah. It's not there. It's just completely not there. In other words, what are you doing there? Only because he allows you to be there, and that's al derech. We could suggest by way of possibility. That's what we find in Shara Yichud, the Alter Rebbe is Marich over there, that the whole Metzias of the Nivra is what the Atzmus is Yodea, or he says it. The HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows him and is Yodea, or he says, and that gives him a place. That's his whole chayz, his whole place. And that's Hashgacha Pratis, the Yediyah, that's the whole Indian of Hashgacha, and like he's Marich over there, really the Nivra has no place whatsoever. Who Yodea, he be Yediyah, so it's the similar Indian. Who be Yediyah, who Vamada, who Yodea, Atzmai, the whole Indian from the Yediyah, and him are all, Yediyah Satzmusa, Yodea, Esaniva. It's a similar idea. He gives it a place, even though Be'em Islamita ain't a place. Asks herself to Shaila, Imkain doesn't really have a place, or does it not, or what's the definitional aspect of that Matthias? So if we're just a little bit patient, I'll soon come to say a word about that. Well, now we meet up with a very interesting. He says, "Ubezeh maturatz eich teva hamarumam liyos nimshach el hashofel meyacha shehu neizem mochim ladovo im kein ein shofel." Now that kasha, I don't know if you guys remember, we asked right at the end of the last mimer in Tov Samaches, in the brackets over there. We were talking about how the marum is nimshach el hashofel, and they put in brackets. Ubinyan anal gamkein tzodik lahovin. I don't know if you remember. Do you? He writes over there. Meyacha shamarumam noisen mokim lechol dovo. In kain eichu nimshik el hashofel. Shezeu she'ena uimed be'ez adaga. A shofel is something doesn't stand on any man. Madrega, it has no Madrega aspect. Omid Tosamaches. Yes. About 2/3 of the way down. The brackets. That to be defined as a shofel, then it's got to be shum erech or Madrega. Or meyach shenoisen lei mokim ve'erech hariu oimed be'eze darge. And he didn't answer terrors on that. And he just said we have to understand that. And I remember when we learned that, I pointed out to you that was going to get an answer a bit later on. And here we come to the answer. You understand? In other words, it's an interesting case where the Rebbe left for Shaila.
What's the question?
The question is that if we're going to say that he's noisen, mocking, to the Zach, then how can we call it a shofar? He's given it a place. If we've given it a place, then it becomes important. If it becomes important that he's not, how can you say Teva Marum and Liyah Nimshach Ela Shofar? You follow? So now he's coming to answer that.
The same thing happens here, though. We read earlier.
Here what you think over there is that when he's nice and mokim that he mamish makes it into a Matthias koshi. And it's Ayin with Beis a darga. That was the kasha. Shvat was a place, and it's Ayin with Beis a shu darga. It's not shofel. Shofel means completely arop. Cain, how could you say that the marum is nimshik tavkel? So there's no shofel. He gives everything a plate. So now he's answering that. He's saying, well, now we ought to be retired. So that Dover that we were mashir kilo b'shayla over there, now we're able to answer it. Fabuous. Im kain harei mitzadatz me. I'm sorry. But Dover and the lafia now move on. That according to what we've just said, it's now moving. Liyoish shezeu rak mashu hu noisen loy mokim ve'erach. Aval adova mitzadatz me ein loy mokim ve'erach klau, even with an asina. Doesn't do it. Even when he gives it an erach, the dova mitzadatz me doesn't have any erach klau hu klau. Over there in the kasha, the Salchadaita was that if he gives it play, then he's given it. He's given it place. He's given it place, and it's even like Abai, Beis Daga was a shofel. So the Rebbe answers no, that both things are there. Benoise Echad. Mitzadach, he gives it mokim, but in that giving it doesn't change the fact that it's betachus hashiflas. And therefore, mitzad demrei mamas, he's able to be nimshach ela shofel, even though he gives it a place. You follow? Because the place is only what he allows it to have the place, of it doesn't alter the fact that b'diyasihu, it's betachus shiflet. And therefore you can have both together. You can have giving it a place, and mitzad sheni, he's nimshuk davki el hashofel. So therefore he says, im kain, hari mitzad atzmei hu shofel, shalei b'bchinas matzias klal. Al kain, teva hamaruman. The maruma is able to be nimshuk El Hashofel. Amamele, Rafi said, here we move to a slightly more difficult and puzzling situation. That you notice that he reminds you of the kasha that he asked. Machashu noisem mochim ladova, im kain ein a shofel. He said, Lafi anal moving, liyeshezeu rak mashu hu noisem lei mochim be'erech. Aval adova mitzadatz me ein loi mochim be'erech. Im kain hari mitzad atzmei hu shofel. Shaloi b'pchinas matzias v'al kain teva hamaruma. So in other words, forget about the fact that he gives it mokim. That he gives it mokim, that's one thing. Although his giving it mokim doesn't change the fact that it's shofel mitzad atzmei. Erevo teva hamaruma liyos nimshach shofel remains even when he gives it a place. The teretz only takes into account really that it's shofel mitzad atzmei of nisha b'shaylim came what's this nice and walking business. If it doesn't alter the fact that it's completely shofel be'eino, but maybe that's not what he's saying. Maybe he's saying that since it's shofel be'emes mitzad atzmei, even though he gives it mokim, it doesn't change the fact that it's really shofel. That he's giving it a mokim doesn't alter the real metzias that it's shofel lagamri mitzad atzmei. But he does give it mokim. So how can the fact that he give it mokim not alter the fact that it's completely shofel? But he says no, that's the answer. The answer is that since it's only a nasinis mokim mitzidoi and mitzad atzmei, it's completely shofel. And if teva and the Kesal Hadaita over there was that the nasinis mokim on his part gives it a mokim darage. So the Rebbe says, oh no, it doesn't give it any darage. And the Rebbe says, what does it give it? What does it really give it? Because in the ultimate lashon of the teretz, he tends to avoid slightly the fact that he's noise and mokim. He said, no, since he does give it mokim, but really mitzad atzmei. And even in the final lashon of the teretz, he says mitzad atzmei is a shofel. Erevo teva ha'maruma mliyos nimshach ela shofel. Lafi zeh is oid yuksha od yoter l'chera. What's the decision for nasinas mokim? It doesn't really alter anything, it would appear, because it still remains betachus hashiflas, and therefore he's able to be nimshach ela ela shofer. Aber lachere, if he gives a place, yeah, then lachere chazra kushila dukta. We have to say no. Since the emes is of mamish mitzadatzmi, it has absolutely no, and his nesinus mochim doesn't alter that. Therefore, it remains a shofer. So what does his nesinus mochim? Yeah, alter. What kila does it really change ultimately speaking? Because lachera the mashmoyas is that Gabi him also it's a vader between his tachlis hashifras, even though he's given it mokim, it's still betachlis shofer, and the far teva harim is liyes nimshach ela shofer. So lachera we've earned a teret of it to a certain extent. We've moved even deeper into the shaila of what it is nice and machim, because in the lashon of the teretz we ever so slightly avoid that nice and late machim. We say no, it's really mitadatzmei of we have to say klapi mile to chavadazei. Well, wait a minute, he gives a place, but he doesn't really, and therefore it doesn't disturb teva marumam liyesh nimshach elashov. So that's all the shaila. What's it as far Ayin does?
Maybe it's complex, makes it more complicated. He said earlier, "Gam ledavar hakatan biyoter, noten lo erech umakom k'mo ledavar hagadol." Yeah,
that's only talking in the.
That they have.
Yeah, that's only talking in the.
Everything is shopping.
Yeah, but that's talking in the realm of the Nivroim. You know, so what we consider, what we consider to be a davar katan, they means what we consider. Yeah. What is nearer be'enei hamakabli to be a davar gadol, by him it's a davar katan or heifa. It's like when Rabbi Shua ben Levi went up into my emes. He said, "Mandu hu za'ir hu rav, mandu hu rav hu za'ir." It could be what appears to be us to be tremendously great is really nothing and afu. That's it.
But he's speaking mitzvah the status of the
that means to say that he gives everything a erech lefi how he sees it. It's who knows and mocking. Who knows and mocking. And what appears by us a dover gadol, it could be really a dover kata. It depends what everything is according to how he gives it mocking. This isn't the sin is mocking. The ultimate what is that everything mitzad is the sin is mocking as an error. It doesn't matter. It's just that the shinui between gadness, the katness, be'enei bria, that can be totally the sin is mocking shaloi. The shadow, what here is that we're once again we're earning ourselves on both fronts. We're having our cake and eating it too again. They were saying, "Oh no, it's really mitzadiyem as he's partly shot. Who knows in lemochim? But nonetheless, he's still a shofel. Lo mekabel shum darge mizeh. Lo metalem mizeh meishifru. Say, even though he gives him a place, what's his whole in of giving him a place doesn't really change anything. He's still betachlis ashiflas ve'in lo erev v'darage, and therefore nimshach ela marumim, nimshach ela shofer. V'yesh leima, the very fact that the Rebbe says v'yesh leima is a siman that ashuhu lo legamrei miushav. That is yesh leima. In other words, we still got up to score to settle. Yesh leima, Ayin lamaila. Let's talk about how it is lamaila, and that'll help us understand Beis come to reis lamato. Al pi hayedua be'inyan da'ash elyin. Da hadeya ho'el yena hi shel lamaila yesh, ainu, b'chinas yeshu amiti. The emes of Hanan, the emes of being, the emes of yesh noi, that's yesh amiti, ulamata ayin. And lamata, everything is ayin. Shahakul b'chinas ayin vo efes mami. Not just shlilas amatiyas ayin, but ayin vo efes. Now we're going to see that tends to gain a bit of momentum as we go along with this whole beer. That the nivra in be'enei ha'mayla, the way the Eibishter sees it, he is that it's not just ayin, but it's efes. What efes is, legamrei shlilas kol efshoriyas. of Matthias. Yeah, no, how do you call it? Out. The Ayin is just a shlila of certain Matthias, of a Ephesus rock. Umavur Ayin b'mokim acher. Liyois me atzma soyer in seif. Efshar she'yeh eise Matthias over. Me atzma sein sof. Nothing can possibly be misaver. Ishavas ha-Matthias hu rachal yedei Timtum. In other words, that the Inyanim come about only through the Timtum. Of a Mamish Atzmas, he can't possibly produce another thing apart from himself. Now here's an interesting one. You know, there's a famous old child, could the Atzmas do something? Is there such a thing as an impossibility, like with the Atzmas? Maybe, yeah, he can't really produce something else apart from himself. It's not true. Can't possibly be. Yeah, he know it milvade mamish. Edify. Here we've got a very interesting trick going on here. Therefore says the Rebbe, the ganze Ayin, this whole what we call the Ishavas, whatever that's going to be in the final decision, the whole Ishavas is alidei Timtum. Yeah, macht a helium, and you get a Ishavas. וכאשר לגבי ירין סייב אין שום דבר מצמצם ומעלים כלל, and since לגבי the Eibester, the Tzimtzum is not מעלים, yeah? The Tzimtzum is only לגבי the מקבלים, כמובן בתניא פרק כ"א, that there's no Tzimtzum לגבי him, ומאיר האין סוף בגילו לאחר Tzimtzum כמו קודם הצמצום, לכן BMS העולם והנברואים בטלים במציאס לגמרי שאינם בבחינת מציאס כלל. So don't come to something on the commands. You see what's happening here? It's mamish. Yeah, having a cake and eat it too. Mamish. What do we say? That Ashmas itself can't possibly produce anything. Ain't no more. But he can't possibly name. Maybe that's the one impossible thing that Dave's got. Can't make a thing cuts me. How does the whole thing occur? The Tzimtzum is not really true. Like nothing happens. It's only a trick like the Mekablim, of the Mekablim. Yeah, since the Tzimtzum is not master like him, as he's there, just like he was there before. If he's there before, he can't have a Matthias. If he was there, ain't Matthias. I don't say how are they Matthias? Here's how he does. I tell me, well, ain't a woman. It's not to be understood. The worlds did come about. Yeah, Uksi, Bereshit, Bora Eli, Bereshit, Bora Elohim. Yeah, they've made somethings. They're not there at all. They can't be. By definition, the Atzmus doesn't allow them. He doesn't allow them to be there. He just, by definition, he can't have them. So how can he have them? How can they be there? And he says, oh yes, I created them. Bereshit bara. Yeah, das bin ich. Often waves you'll say no. But if you are now, yes, lema, the BMS, kolo, elemas, einem b'matchias klal. Look at that. The elemas are not there. Forget it. Emlo. They can't possibly be. Or mashahem b'matchias, zerach mashoyer ain't safe, nation lehem mokim u'matchias. Avaloi shahem b'finas matchias mitad atzmei. Ve'imi yoy shenoisen lehem mokim, mikol mokim ein lehem mokim mitad atzmo. They don't have a mokim at all in their own selves, they can shum mokim it. It's only because he gives them a mokim. And he said, v'cheinu b'yidiyotei. Yeah, not only just Kiwi makes a whole trick with the Tzimtzum and Kiwi leaves it over or something, he leaves you to sort it out. Well, we bought from Shara Yichud. The Mamish in the Eibus says, Das, and his idea, Kein hu, ja, b'yedios yisborach, she'enam b'bchinas Matthias klau. The Eibishter knows in his Matthias that they are absolutely not klau. In other words, in his idea, it's even worse. It's the enam Matthias klau uklau, rakshu hu yisborach neisha lehem, mokim ve'ere. He gives them a invan, mokim ve'ere. So, they are not there at all. You forget it. They can't possibly be, because Atzmus is Meir, the Atzmus is there. They can't be. It's constant. But he gives them a place. He kills them. Not ten like him. So you might say, well, it's just like it's not real. It's not anything real. It's just like it's a an accuser say naim, a spiel. No, it's a voracious border. Something happened. Like the famous report from the Rebbe Maharaj, that the two possibilities, that if you're a machashiv and you just make people look at the field of the kishuim, and you make all the kishuim get up and walk over and plant themselves in a field alongside. They all get up, but it's all just nachizas zinayv. It's not really happening. Is ishpot the osel of ishpot mimisa. But if he's poil, they actually do get up and walk over and plant in the field, then he's chayav misa. He's chayav misa. So in fact, the whole world is anyway not really there. The world. Ayin was a comment. It's not even a cholim. Yeah? It was enough community. If he made it look that way, or if he made it work, it's also he made it look that way. It didn't happen anyway. Yeah, Lisa, for that we see that the world is epistematic. The Rebbe says, no, he said, Obiterot is Yabzamatik. Rad Kere Kachtet, was it tight? Yena bekommt Misa Obiterot. So you might say, oh, no. The Misa all doesn't happen, it's all just a dream. He's not really there, and he's not really being put away. Nothing's really happening. So the Rebbe said, no, Im Kain, but Koloin Shem Jupiter. Yeah. Don't take that. Nothing's really happening. What does he have to worry about that? He's not there, he's not going to be punished. Nothing's happening. These things they get out. So, the Emerson, we should really read the brackets. Now the brackets comes around from another corner. We'll leave that to the next time. What was to contagious like this? We have to say that how is it that it gets a tweaker from a Matthias when it's ain't no Matthias cloud? It's right there with the Atzmas. Yeah, who lays us upon him in a? He's there. And the Nidra is not there. Ain't no Matthias cloud. And where it takes us to know he's chayav misa and the misa is really happening to him. I mean, he's got a man to get rid of him. That whole thing with the kishuim. It's a Mishnah in Sanhedrin Perek Zayin, I think it is in Sanhedrin. So I'm 17. What do we have to say is like this. We said before that the king is also a mitzvot. That all the we're at the end of the last chapter. That all the citizens, that all the Mekablim from the middle, they also know that they're mamish lekabihim. They're absolute ayin for. Because he's a Roman, Achmi, he's a Emerson Marumam, isn't he? He's Emerson Marumam, he's Marumam, but Achmi, they don't have any, there's no Malucha, that's it. And he's also not Begeder Metzias, he's bottled with Metzias, like every day, so he says, no. That the Eibishter gives a tweaker of his bittul b'metzias, that he gets kilo from the Eibishter into the Malucha, and it gets a certain uiz for tweaker mitad the imitius yichud of the Marumam in Elokus, in the Mochi of Emes tweaker. We can say that what happens, the Nivra is not really there. The Kriya Shem on the part of the Eibishter is an Asinas Toikev that at least the Gabi all Chesboinas from the Makablim, it makes a reality. And that reality is fixed by the Torah. That's what he said earlier, that the Torah is the final Mamuta. Remember we had these 4 levels, but the last connection is the Mamuta of the Torah. He said that the Torah is the last Mamuta. And that brings about the Etzem Misavas or the coming into being of the Betelim Elamela, or Elav Yisparach, in the Nimshal. Nimta, the Nasinas Mokim is a giving of Toikev from the Sherashah Amiti. In other words, that since he is, how do you call it, Betatlis, our dollar Sa'era, he's Atzmas Mam, and nothing can be there like him. And the fact that it is there, we have to say that his Atzmas gave it a certain Toikev. It's not there, but it is, because he gave a certain Toikev of his Matthias into it. And it's interesting that on Motzei Shabbos I was looking in Likutei Diburim. I was looking at something in Likutei Diburim. I must admit I didn't have a great deal of fire. I wasn't feeling particularly, how do they call it, fresh-minded with the guns to do with. But I came across a whole piece there from the Frierdiker Rebbe. But the Frierdiker Rebbe quotes what the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya. Hu levadi kochev yechelti lahavas. Hayish ma'ayin v'efes hamuflat. And he writes a whole thing that changed. Once that came into, the Alter Rebbe made that statement, it changed the whole world, it changed the whole Hasogi, and the Chassidim became different, and everybody became different. We say a whole Matthias HaMahus, and the Mahus of the Matthias, and the Hasogis Mahus, Matthias, Shabbat Mahus, Shalahem, and our gods, and a tremendous reason. Over the Nakud is that changed it. One day Alter Rebbe said that, everybody became different, everybody understood differently, everybody knew Elokus differently, everybody became Batel, Betachas HaBitl, but Afu became, they understood. Oh, big, complicated Sikha. It can only be like the Frierdiker Rebbe's Sikha. The Alter Rebbe wrote those words. He says, Hu levadi b'kochev yechelti lahavas es hayesh me'an v'efes ha. Now, Mamela, das ist the word. Hu levadi b'kochev yechelti. Only he can do that. Yeah? Nothing. The whole thing is nothing, and it can't possibly be anything. Oh, but yes, it is. Yeah, remember, that's the answer to what we said before. We said before, that's one thing the Abish can't do. Oh, yes, he can. Oh, yes, he can. He can make that something will become, right, a Matthias, and even he will reckon with that Matthias, even though it's not really. But he will reckon with it. That's Rachu levadi b'kochev yechelti. Only he can do a thing like that. Rachu yechelti. And that's the Ayin, what he said before, that the emes hareimim is the melech, that's noise and ois into the malchus. And it's not yeshes. It's not yeshes. No, this is Ayin. Moshiach is coming, you guys. And when Moshiach is going to be here. And when it's going to be Tchias HaMeir, what they're going to do is even before Tchias HaMeir. That's what we're going to wake up to. We're going to wake up to that. Our whole Ayin is Rach. Yeah, Hu levadi b'kochev yechelti. Those are the Atzmas himself. We're a very special Yechoilus in the Atzmas, that he can do the absolute impossible. He can make you be, and he can make you be Adla Neitochim. Atzok, pictures of year. Adsof, Shabbat, you'll be there. Yeah. Because only he can do that. Can do that. Who will do or with Tarasheni, the Remesis to be Scottish. Absolute God. Club. You're not even there. Oh, he wants you to be there. He says you're going to be there. Oh, this is the whole world stands on it. You move a few Meshuggah Kishuyim. Do what you have to do. You have to eat the kishuyim. You have to eat the loaves. At the face of me. I'm sorry. Was heißt? Das ist der Pshat. Immer mehr kommt das, that the whole noise and mocking is a murder. And that's what's hidden in those words of the Alter Rebbe over there. That's right. That's a mamish kocha pratis. I happened to see that sikh on my Shabbat. I just had to look in real quick to put him check. All of a sudden I typed nice good cup. The whole beginning of the Rebbe is marich. Once the Alter Rebbe wrote those words, he changed the whole history of human Hatzoga and the whole human Hatzoga, the keys and the whole do it. He changed this and he changed something else, he changed something else. The Chassidim became different, the Chassidim were and they weren't, and they became this. They had different Hatzogas and they moved and they were able to change the world and they were able to be shluchim. Christ took it was. Well, because they knew that. What's it? Right? That's what's in here. And then he's going, that's what he did. We understand. He's going to say that the Olam is b'diyosef. They do hold that they have a place. Oh, yes, they do. Das Taktim, they really think they have a place. And that's also, the Eibishter wants you to think that you have a place. Oh, yeah. He wants you to think that. And he wants you to feel that you don't really know what that's all about. And he wants you to come to the emes realization of what it's all about. And that's Bittul HaYesh. Those are the Pshat Bittul. Or at the beginning, the way he brought him about, yeah, they say, well, yeah, we were touched. Yesh me, we're here, Shalom Aleichem. I'm not here. Oh, yes, I am. So what's a Bittul HaYesh? You're going to come to the realization, I'm sorry, you're not really.
So Gafni, Ein Melech Lo Am. What the Eibush is feeling himself there is Melech, and because we don't really exist.
So you got to realize that that's written in the state in Samach, in Tofei Samach Dod. And the Rebbe Hashem said the whole thing that happens on Russia doesn't really happen to me. There's no real Am, and there's no... he said, what's for a tainu? Got the Eibush, the tainu from Dovish Eino. That's not really happening. So he said, no. That's what the Eibush does. The Eibush lets himself into that tainu, that something should happen, Kilu, Mitzadi his Atzmas, in such a way that Kaviyohu, he'll allow himself to have which is called Ayin. It doesn't really happen, but it does. So the ultimate thing is that it does. It does really happen. And how does that? Only Mitzadi Atzmas. That's only Mitzadi. And that's what he says, B'yidiyosei hu. The Eibishter knows, he knows what's really going on. And what he wants you to do is to come to his Yediyah. He wants, at a crazy mention, as they try in Charum, in this world, they should come to that Yediyah. They should come. So our answer is, wonderful, tremendous. We're prepared. We've learned a bit of Ayin Beis. We've learned that Sikh from the Friedrich Rebbe. We've learned Tanya and Ger's Creed. All stink. Aber so. Es ist schwer, aber nicht in Koya. Aber nicht in Koya, man. God has, thousands of years of this mishuk in the matter.
On the other hand, what is meaningless?
You want us to really understand it. You want us to really appreciate it. Ni. Huh?
Lama harois lama zeh.
Nee. So you see how it changes. And that's what you have to. That's what I want to be madai. That the other of it just said, it's still even relatively orthodox. Ayin Mitzin is mocking mitadach man. It's influence in the mind. And here he says, oh no, it doesn't have any materials. It's not there. Bichal. What's it doing there? Man, you might think that if you say it's a spiel, no, it's a gracious border.
But mitzad
yeah.
You know, there is a difference between cotton and bottle. There is a difference. There not everything is shofel, the same, baby food. Everything has a different texture and a different color and a different. So there is a golden cotton. Only that he gives it everything that's a cotton.
That's like a prat in the Inyonim. That's got a
He says mitzvah
Yeah, if he gives it, that's the original kasha. If he gives it, the taste is nimshach. So he got some sort of.
That's another question. What does it mean? Hateva שהוא נמשך על השופר.
Yeah,
What does it mean? זה נמשך?
he said הוא משחבר, והוא משחבר או משיחק בתור, משהו כזה. דווקא הוא משיחק בתור. He brings on the power in that matter.
You mean that
he brings the first the morning Kodesh, Eshkoin, there's Dake Vishwaru. For some reason.
why is it להימשך על השופר?
Oh, this is a teva. That's what it's a teva. A teva. In other words, maybe we take the Derek Tachos. Was it the time? Was the time for the teva? Azam Rumam, he likes emes. Who have emes? The emes is that everything's shofar. Where you're dark, he comes there. If you hold your when I can be told, that's before you hold it, you're done. Ain't no kilo 5 shulchan. I need that.
I mean, that's the difference between Kiddush and Klippe. The difference between Kiddush and
Klippe. No, don't tell me all this. So good.
But he gets a hashpor. Klippe gets a hashpor. Where is the hashpor? He gets a more right hashpor. בסדר, בחיצון יש.
בשופר רוח he gets
because he's mechuba to the Kavanah Alien, the Kavanah things.
Zijn is komt dan schwer. So he gets through quick. Now you get pockets for glimmers. Now you go out. Yeah? It's pretty amazing stuff. You should realize that all the emissary Tiruchim and Biulim and Sidis, Goyim, Ayin the Shvuas to Camp Shechem. Take a look and you'll see. Now this is actually began Shvuas. And look in all the other in Samachay, that's the other big famous one. Shvuas. Samachay Russian is gewaldig, but with the wheel, Schmettene, all the Biur, all the Shvuas, Samachay Shvuas. The only slight Yitzim cloud is Samachay. Samachay, Shvuas is not so bad, it's under it's in the earlier parts. Maybe Samachay a little bit of there was a slight, shade of it. In all the years, most of the years, if you look at the Shvuas of Shechem, especially on Dalet and on Hay and on Bol, that's where all the Shmetten of all the Biurim and everything occurs the same year. Look at that. And in the next moment, it's going to go even further with all sorts of Hakiras in the very mahus. What is the Havana? How do we really know and understand what we are doing? What we're not doing.
Well, the Rebbe says in that mind that the avodah now in this generation is avodah hanitzochem. That you put all the moichin aside. The only thing you already got is the toikef of the atmos.
The thing is that you can't really, in a way, put everything aside and just be a person unless you know some of this. You know what I mean? If you know some of this, then you know what's the story and you can put it aside. But otherwise, you know what I mean? You say, well, that's some of this, I know what I'm saying.
It's true, because when you said
you're not really putting it aside, you're really putting it in your pocket. You know what I mean? I mean, think about it.
Did you notice when you said everything is garnished, everyone is smiling?
Yeah. Exactly.
You should be exactly everybody. That's not what happened. Everybody smile. Everybody's happy.
Over the Simon that took this sort of thing seriously, they came to the Mitzvah. And so what people say. People say, oh, you know, the ones who were learning the high day were not the real Sidkas Alonacham.
The ones who what?
Learned all the high stuff, they were the Maskilim and the Alonacham. And that's why we see that the Rebbeim themselves attacked the Maskil. When I say attacked them, you know, they sort of took pieces out of them here and there. Because if you were a Maskil, then you weren't in the real game, you know, the holidays.
You mean a Maskil?
Yeah, just for the, you know, for the scholar and the so. Then for the holidays you weren't really in the game. And that's what the Rebbe said about Shilom Kulam. I don't know a great deal about him, but they say he was really unbelievable. He was the Mashgiach in the Zal in Tom Chetrim, and he passed away relatively early. And they said that the Rebbe said that he spoke himself well later. The Rebbe said it. Listen, he was an unbelievable Rebbe. It's in a hurry. They say about him that during these years there came a Shalom in Lubavitch, and he heard this man. He wasn't a Lubavitcher, but he was a Yid Mitakov, and he heard, one of these Maimonides. They saw these people standing around, all listening, and then later on, all repeating it over, they're hearing the Chayzrim, the Chayzrim themselves are breaking their heads and all things. So when he had Yechidus with the Rebbe on Motzei Shabbos, he said, he's tremendously, spoiled and tremendously affected by what he heard. But he said, does the Rebbe really think that these people really understand? Or does the Rebbe really believe that they really understand? So the Rebbe didn't say yes or no. He said he'd send them Gelen in Geman, that he meant of Shulm Kura. That he had, probably he was a bit gingy. So he said he'd send them Gelen in Geman, so steht dort in der Reich. So he said, oh, yes, you noticed him? He said, versteht mich. He said, he understands. Cute. If he understands, it'll get around, it'll get around. No, that's it.
All that it's all worthwhile just for him.
Huh? Yeah, that he actually sort of bringing it into the world went through him, but it came down to everybody eventually. And that the purpose was that people should be able to relate to these, That was the whole meaning. It just had to go through a certain maturity. The ultimate point was we should know about these sort of idioms and relate to them, but then the Nitoch and the Koyach and Neta is a different type of nature. Thank you very much.
Your raincoat. Let's switch us on. How do you stop it?